What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be checking out the Nitecore Tip EDC Flashlight. Now if you thought this was going to be the last video, think again, because this video is just a tip of the iceberg of what's to come. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody, and as mentioned, we are checking out the Nitecore Tip EDC keychain flashlight. Now the model that I selected was the CRI model, which is a high CRI color rendition index. This one is the Nitecore 219B LED. It's at around 90 high CRI. Now what that means is basically the color rendition of the LED is more accurate than something like a cool white. So it's really good for maybe nighttime photography, but I kind of just like it because it looks pleasing to the eyes. So it's a warmer tint to the LED. But this light is just a really cool EDC light. I've had this one for about a month and a half, and I've been carrying it exclusively on my keychain. I just stick it in my pocket every day, and you can see it kind of worn. It looks pretty cool when the paint sort of wears off of the edges, but this thing's held up really well. This is an aluminum alloy case, but it is extremely lightweight. It's around 0.8 ounces on my measurement on the scale. They listed, I think, at 0.75 ounces, but just extremely lightweight. You can attach it to a keychain there, a key ring, and that's usually what I do. It's very small in size. It's about the size of your typical key fob or keyless entry fob for, let's say, a Toyota vehicle or other ones as well. But it's just really small, really lightweight, and extremely bright. This is the 2017 model, so this one with the high CRI of 90, it comes with about 240 lumens on turbo, which is really bright. Now, there are some newer models or some models that don't have the CRI LED that have higher brightness. So check those out if you don't really care about color rendition. You want like a cooler white LED, you can get even more brightness. So I'm going to go ahead and talk quickly about the operation, charging, as well as some of my likes about the light, and I also have some beam shots that I'm going to roll in as well during the review. But this is a pretty cool light. It does come with a hat clip that you can clip onto the body, or a utility clip, so they call it. I just use it as a baseball hat clip, so you can clip it onto the bill of your hat if you're working on something. You could probably clip it into your pocket as well, but I wouldn't trust this clip that much. It seems, it could probably break, as I just dropped it on the floor, but I did find the clip mostly useful for the hats, but I'll typically just leave it off. But as far as the modes, the way you operate this is you have a power mode and you have a mode. You have a power button and you have a mode button. So you can access your ultra low or your turbo mode when the light is off. So if you want to go to your ultra low, you would just hold on to the power mode and release, and it goes on to your ultra low. Kick it back off, and if you want to go on to your turbo mode, you would go to your mode and hold it down, and then you have your highest level right there. Turn it back off, and that's how you have it. Now you can turn it on in low and cycle through by hitting the modes, so that's medium and that's high, and then hold down on your mode selector, go to turbo, let go, and it goes back to high. So turbo, high, and then you just start cycling through low, ultra low, mid, high, hold it down for turbo, let go, goes back, turn it off, turn it back on, goes back to high. So it does have mode memory. But it's a really cool activation. You can also get into this model, the 2017, has daily and constant on mode. So basically, the daily mode would have a runtime of 30 seconds and then it shuts off. But I like to keep it on constant on, so when you turn it on, the light just stays on and doesn't shut off automatically. But to get out of that, you would hold down both buttons at the same time, and it would switch between the daily and constant on mode. Now, one cool feature about this is you can kind of get the battery status by pressing the, I don't know if you can see the light flash, but if I press the mode button, it flashes, like right there, it just flashed 3 times. 3 flashes, it flashes red around the buttons. There's an LED inside. 3 flashes means the battery level is above 50%. It would flash twice if the battery level was below 50%. And if it only flashed once, it would mean the battery level was below 10%. So that's a really cool feature to be able to tell how much battery life you have. I really like that a great deal. The way that you charge it is through a micro USB. There's a port right there, so you can basically just plug it into basically a phone charger is what I do. Or I have a cigarette lighter charger in my vehicle, and I'll often plug it in while I'm driving, and it'll charge it right up, no problems. Now, while you're charging it, that same LED inside of these 2 buttons will light up. It'll be red when it's charging, and when it's done charging, it'll turn to green. Now, it's not extremely bright. You might not be able to see it in daylight, but when you turn it off, when it's dark outside, you can't just turn off the light. When it's dark outside, you'll be able to see the light when you're charging. But that's a really cool feature to be able to tell when the light has fully charged. Now, speaking of the charging, this has a 500 milliamp hour battery inside, so it has pretty decent run times. Now, on this model, the turbo, like I said, is around 240 lumens, and you're going to get about 30 minutes from that if you're in the turbo mode. If you're in your high mode, you're somewhere around 100 lumens, or 90, I think it is. You'll get about an hour and a half out of that. Mid mode is around 35 lumens. You'll get a little over 6 hours with that. And on your ultra low, which they claim is 1 lumens, but it looks a little brighter to me, but they're claiming 46 hours. Now, I didn't test these completely, but I've seen some other tests done on YouTube as well as other areas on the internet, and I think that that's fairly accurate. So that's a pretty good indication on what kind of runtime you're going to get. Now, I really like this light. Like I said, just as an EDC light, if you're working on your vehicle at night, or maybe you have a flat tire and this is the only light you have on you, it's extremely bright and it's really useful for that. The beam pattern is really smooth. You can see just a really good area right out in front of you. It doesn't have extreme throw, but I think they're claiming something like, I think they said 50 meters, I want to say, but it's not really a throwy light. I'd say, 30 feet in front of you, you can see on maybe your high mode, turbo mode, maybe a little more, but you're not going to really see that far past that, because it's really not meant to be a throwing light. You can see the reflector, it's very small, it's not very deep, so it just doesn't have an extreme amount of throw, but it's just an incredible area light where you're working somewhere close in front of you, or a walking light, or even a jogging light. It's perfect for that in really dark areas. So this is a really cool light. I've really been enjoying carrying it, and it just disappears in the pocket on your keychain. Those are the things that I do like about it. One dislike I have is, I don't know if you can hear, but the reflector is a little loose in there. So I would doubt waterproofness. I don't know if I would trust putting this in water with that reflector being just a little loose. You can hear it shaking around. But that's about the only gripe I have about it. Everything has been really good. I haven't had any issues with it. It's been very fun to use. It's been a really cool EDC. I'd recommend it honestly to anyone that's looking for an EDC light. It's just been really cool. So I did do some beam shots, and what I did is I basically was walking past the camera in my backyard, and I went through all of the modes. I had the light clipped to the bill of my hat, and I was basically just using it as a walking light. So I went through on the low mode, which you won't, or the ultra low, so you won't be able to see that on the camera very well, but you'll start to see it as I went and walked with the mid mode. So here's the mid mode, walking up to the camera. I was about, I'd say 30 feet away to start, maybe 40. Just walked past the camera, that was the mid mode. And then I went by on the high mode as well. So I was walking, now I'm walking towards the camera on the high mode. And then I went ahead and did that as well on the turbo mode. And you can really see the turbo mode really lit up the area a lot better. It's extremely bright, just, you know, almost too much light if you're walking in complete darkness. You'd want to be on something like the mid or the high mode. But obviously, it's hard to pick up on the camera sometimes. But I had the camera, I had the exposure locked on the camera, so it's not going to adjust when the light turns on. So hopefully that'll give you guys a good indication of how bright the light is. I also tried to show using it on my hat while I was checking my oil and just doing a couple things on my vehicle. You know, it's perfect for something like, you know, getting to your front door if you don't have your porch light on or your light in front of your door on and you need to find your keys and stick them into your door. Works really well for that. Just a multitude of uses. I think it's really one of the best EDC lights out there. Now obviously there are some other choices, but this one this is my favorite light right now for EDC. Comes in multitude of colors. I have the blue, but you can get all kinds of colors. There's different, like I said, there's different LEDs that they have in there. All kinds of options, as well as there's many other brands and similar lights, but this one, the Nitecore, I just really have enjoyed this one. And I bought this light myself. No, this is not a sponsored review or anything. I just bought it just because I liked it. And I haven't had many Nitecore lights before, but this one I've really enjoyed. So anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching. This is probably a good light for anyone looking for an EDC light. It's inexpensive. It's not that expensive. Extremely bright, rechargeable with USB port. I really like it. So thanks a lot for watching the review, guys. I hope you liked the video, and leave me a comment if you have any questions or just want to say thanks for making the video. So I'll talk to you guys later, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.